Hi, my name is Abigayle and I'm here to tell you a little bit about my thesis. I had really big ambitions for this video and spent the majority of the day yesterday performing as an alter ego trying to vlog about my work. I did this to really highlight my curiosity in vernacular aesthetics and the way I like to move subject matter into mediums that don't necessarily make sense. You'll see this in my work as I move my physical body into digital spaces and my intimate feelings into places of public consumption. I find that decontextualizing subject matter into strange mediums is a tool that helps me see both the subject and the medium more clearly. But the whole process of performing and constructing the vlog was hard and felt increasingly inauthentic, and somewhere in the middle of my sleepless night last night, I decided that the delivery of this work needed to be highly authentic, both to do my work justice and to honor my thinking and feelings behind it. So I'm starting over. So welcome to my review, where I'm going to show you 4 projects that are representative of a much larger body of work that I created over the past 8 months. This work centers on the digital self, or more specifically, my digital self. I've been exploring how we perform identity in cyberspace, what it means to have a body in the digital era, and how the tools and interfaces we engage with are altering our sense of reality and sense of self. Again, I keep saying our, but I really mean my. My work is heavily centered on myself and my own experience in the contemporary technological world I occupy. In this body of work, I'm mostly drawing on my designer self and my feminine self as drivers of these explorations. As a designer, I am questioning how the design of these platforms can be played with or challenged to better understand the interactions that are occurring, and if through doing this, I can regain some control over my digital life. As a woman, I am drawing on a lineage of feminist inquiry into self-image making, into cyberspace as an equalizing space, and into the body as a site of power. The most direct representation of this methodology in my work is a series of images I created of Tana Mojo, an infamous YouTuber. I became fascinated with her over winter break when I heard her talking about the way she uses Facetune to alter her images before posting them on Instagram. She talked about editing herself until she stopped looking like herself, and for some reason I felt personally challenged to push the Facetuning of Tana Mojo as far as I could. So I started putting images of Tana Mojo into an app called Peachy, which is basically just a free version of Facetune, and pushing them to the point of unrecognizability. These images are curious to me because they're simultaneously highly digital, yet still very bodily. While making this work, I was really fascinated by the way that Tana uses her own augmentation of her body as a tool to sort of twist the expectations of the male gaze. I feel she's found a way to really use her body and her sexuality as a vehicle of control. And she does this in a way that is highly reliant on digital culture. The next piece I'm going to talk about is a further exploration of the sense of uncanniness that comes when physical bodies are digitized. I started noticing the corporal language that's used in web design, especially the idea of a web skin. So I started scanning my skin at a very high resolution, and then I created this website for my skin. I was also thinking about how skin is a repository for data and how websites are repositories for data, but when you digitize skin, it becomes meaningless, and when a website is just full of zoomed up images of skin, it's also meaningless. I feel like this website also calls into question how our body is attached to our digital identity. This website is sort of the closest look you'll ever get at my body on the internet, but at this level of zoom, it's not really me at all. In my details, I am almost indistinguishable from any other white body. This website is also an inquiry into how I hold power in my digital presence. I wanted the website to autoplay sound so that it would be a little intrusive as people looked at me in extreme detail. The next piece originated from a similar line of thinking as the skin website. In thinking about applying to jobs, I spent some time looking at information architecture and UX frameworks. I began noticing how the shapes of information architecture or wireframes looked very similar to a human body, a head with limbs branching off into fingers and toes. This composition can go both ways, I think. The body is also a vessel with information stowed in different holding spaces. I began designing an app for myself, thinking about my body as information architecture. From the central composite self, you can click on different parts of me, which then open up to more detail. Clicking on these details leads to little somatic memories or sensory experiences. Once in this outer narrative level, you can click left or right to continue reading the somatic stories in a disembodied way. Or you can return to the body interface and choose another specific detail to learn more about. While on the narrative level, there are some surprise pages that you stumble upon as you click through the pages. This app also explores the tensions that arise when highly personal stories are published in a public platform and how transferability of personal physical experience happens in the universal space. You may notice that this piece is aesthetically similar to April Greiman's Photoshop self-portrait. That is not unintentional. I see this coming from a similar place of curiosity. How can I digitize myself, and how can I circulate my digital self? The last piece I will show is a zine that I made after being ghosted by a man that I met on the internet. I created it in PowerPoint because I felt so confused by the situation at hand and wanted things explained to me very clearly. Recently, I printed it on vellum, and I love the way the heavy blacks on the transparent paper render the whole project somewhat illegible. I'm going to read you the first few pages. I met a stranger on the internet. He emerged from the digital ether, from a pool of pixels and fibers. Out of nothing, for no reason, then there he was. I thought to myself, where have you been hiding? On YouTube, watching surf videos and Fran Lebowitz and people screaming. It was sort of magical to find someone on the internet, to see their tiny image turn life-size, to hear a voice and feel the way it made bones and flesh rumble, to ask a question and read their response, later watching light flick across the surface of his pupils as he turned to face me. This project is trying to encapsulate the gray area between digital and physical that I find myself occupying all the time now. Everything is mixed, both cyber and meat, feeling real and fake, tactile and ephemeral. To close, I'd like to mention that Sarah and I spent a lot of time talking about what the best way to show this work would be. How can it be brought together in a way that feels more than just a bunch of different pieces? Part of me wishes that it could be shown in a real space altogether, but part of me is also aware that the way I want it to be viewed is the way that I view most of the exciting digital work I look at. It is stumbled upon randomly on a long afternoon spent clicking and searching my way through the web. I get to have a private moment with it, revealing the complexity and mystery of the internet. It's honestly hard for me to walk you through some of this work because it's built to be scrolled, tapped, or paged through. It's meant to reveal itself to you at your own pace. I think, in some ways, all of this work is about revealing and about becoming. It's about taking control and then surrendering control. It's about trying to collapse binaries in on themselves and saying, look, it's all just mush. Thank you.